Hello, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including She-Ra, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hello.
Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Today we are continuing our episode-by-episode coverage of Season 2 of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, released on Netflix. Today we are discussing Episode 5, Whiteout. We have been discussing other episodes of the show at overlyanimated.com, where you can find our previous coverage as well as our full season reaction podcast. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. You can find us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. And wherever you listen to us, we always appreciate any ratings and reviews you want to leave us. But yeah, today we are discussing episode 5. A fair warning that this is in the context of the full season, so we will likely be we could possibly be discussing other episodes after this as well as episodes before this. So the this will be a full spoiler podcast if you care about that. So. Whiteout, episode 5. There's a lot to talk about, some strong themes that were mentioned heavily in our overall season podcast, and here will give us a bit more opportunity to dig into them. So I guess we'll begin with general thoughts about the episode. Delaney, let's go to you first, since you were telling us before the podcast that you just finished the season. So also, if you just want to give general thoughts on your immediate season reactions, that'd be fine too. Like, what do you think about Whiteout?
Oh, this episode's really gay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I enjoyed this episode. It kind of, honestly, I feel like this episode kind of encompasses everything we got in these 7 episodes. You know, you have your 2 teams, you have Scorpio, like we have like the bad girls club, and it's like, you know, they're like doing their own thing. I'm really enjoying the split narrative we've been doing, because, you know, we got a little bit of it, and I don't know, like I just feel like it's much more prominent than it was last season, and especially since we're not like just fighting each other every episode, it's really nice. So I really enjoy just seeing Scorpio and Quattro and Entrapta interact, and Entrapta is insane, so it's just fun to watch. And Quattro's like freezing to death, and they're all in their winter coats, and it's super cute. Like, oh, you have little horde coats. That's adorable. And so as per usual, my least favorite part of the episode was what's his face, Seahawk.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be Seahawk.
Like, it's not that I hate him, it's just that I hate him. I mean, he's fine. We almost got through the episode without him singing, and then I was like, oh, hello, Seahawk. He's fine. Oh, I actually really enjoyed him and Scorpio's, like, heart-to-heart, and also Scorpio is somehow gayer than Quattro. I don't know how. It's really impressive, I'll be honest. And right now, so I guess this goes back to some of my overall thoughts of the season, is that Scorpio, I think, is like the standout character of these 7 episodes. Like, Scorpio is a treasure, and we must protect her always, especially in this episode. And I don't know, I just really, like, the action was fun. I was terrified, but I enjoyed seeing the red disc of doom again.
Mm-hmm. That's a callback from the first Entrapped episode.
I will say it's a little weird, like, with a Netflix drop show and only having, like, in total right now 17 episodes, to be like, oh yeah, this happened once before. You mean like 3 episodes ago that happened? That's cool. Yeah, I remember when that happened. So, like, I mean, obviously it's different, like, if you were telling this, like, as, like, a week-by-week TV show. I enjoyed it, though, and as, I don't even remember who said it. Was it Entrapta who said she gets all floppy?
Yeah, it was Entrapta.
Because that's exactly what happened, because she did get very floppy. But overall, I really enjoyed Whiteout. I think it's one of my favorite episodes of this new season, and it just overall was really good.
All right. Sam?
Oh, and really gay.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you start with really gay and you end with really gay. I think that's a good reaction. Sam, over to you. Well, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Honestly, it's one of, if not my very favorite episodes of She-Ra. I don't know, it has it all. It has lesbianism, it has fun times with mops and fun things happening, it has coats and blankets, it has heart to hearts. It's just the perfect episode for me personally. Yeah, definitely the standout of this episode and what makes me like it so much is Scorpia, and it is like her whole thing with Quattro and trying to ask her out and doing this, that, and the other. That was something that really showed to me the real potential of the emotionality of the show, and I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's have more emotions, more talks, more special
Make
things.
us cry.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And finally, Michelle, what are your general opinions on this episode?
Oh, I love this episode. This is definitely my favorite episode of the season. I think it's like a combination of Scorpio being so on point, as everyone else has already pointed out, and just like I love structurally, like everyone is kind of really great this episode. Like I love Entrapped already, but I really love her this episode. Like I love Quattro, and I really like her this episode. Like even Seahawk, who I almost called Hawkmoth again, but I stopped myself. He is Seahawk.
I mean,
I was really not into him first season, and I think the thing that makes me pretty okay with him this episode is his like constant anxiety about being cool undercuts his confidence the whole episode, and I like that makes me like feel like he's a little more relatable and not just like in his own butt the whole time. You know what I mean? So like even he, I thought, was like,
so he's just trying really hard
realized
to be cool, but he's not actually cool.
because he keeps asking them if he's cool. It's like, dude, if you need everyone to tell you you're cool to feel cool, then like obviously you already know the answer to that question. But like I do agree with Stan. Like I love that he had his like heart-to-heart talk with Scorpia, and he like actually really helped her have the confidence to like walk away from the fight at the end and to go against Quattro's orders, and that's what ended up getting her to notice her really for the first time. So I mean, if we get that on a Seahawk, I think like that's actually pretty good, all things considered. But yeah, I was really high on this episode. Like, I love the structure of it, everything. Like, I love that we kept jumping back and forth between different characters. I love that they formed a kind of like everyone was on the same side except for Quattro for a hot second. That was great. I love seeing enemies like work together because there's like an extra external thing they have to all deal with.
It's the best.
Yeah, like even though it's like temporary, it's like it's so good when it happens, and that was
Nice.
yeah. 2 thumbs up for me for this episode.
All right. I think I mirror most of Michelle's thoughts in that the Scorpia Seahawk scene is very excellent in terms of like mirroring the two relationships side by side. A Seahawk in general, I think that he actually works in this episode because, I mean, I pathetic is a strong word, but like it knocks. But I think knocking him down a peg. Like it's more. He's more aware than in previous episodes of the fact that he's not actually cool, and I think that helps him like be more relatable, and his sad shanty feels, sad, and so that works a little better than I guess like the open cheesiness of previous episodes. But also like Scorpia is great in this episode. I agree that Entrapped has some good moments. Obviously Drunkadora, like she is always a source of comedy, and I enjoy her contributions as well. So Whiteout is also one of my favorites of this season, maybe my favorite. Only like one other episode we would be competing, but so now we've got our general thoughts out. We've all mentioned Scorpia in our initial thoughts, so I think it makes sense to focus on her scenes first, since she takes up a lot of this episode. And actually, the very first scene we get with her is her basically asking out Quattro, right? Because Quattro is looking through boxes, and Scorpia is like sneaking up. She's like has to hype herself up first. It's like, "Hey, you got this, Quattro, you have a special bond," and like she goes through her spiel of like trying to get Quattro to hang out. I don't know what kind of thoughts that you guys have when you were watching this portrayal of like Scorpia approaching Quattro and like trying to like pull her out of her work shell. Like, what did you guys feel watching that?
It was awesome. I was a little upset. I got a little spoiled for it on the internet, as one does. Not like super spoiled. Somebody just literally said something like, "Oh my God, Scorpia's trying to ask her out," and then I watched this scene. I was like, "It's happening." It's funny because like it is really funny, especially when Catcher's like, "We are hanging out." like y'all, like there's literally nothing for y'all not to do. Like y'all are always together. But I don't know. It was really cute. And I think it was a big deal for Scorpia. And I think Scorpia's really coming into her own this season. She's being very, I don't know, she's always been open about how much she loves Quattro, but now it's very much like, I don't know, like...
She's taking it to the next level.
Yeah, no, it's great. Oh my God, when she asked her out, I was like, this is the best. Because, of course, everyone... So me and my girlfriend fight constantly. Like, we're watching She-Ra, and it's like... And something will happen, and my girlfriend's like, "I told you in game," because she's like, "Catch your Dora," and I'm like, "I'm like arguing." But it's like, no matter, I will always root for Scorpia, always.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed it. Was really cute, and it's just Quattro being so dumb, and then Scorpia like can't say it in a succinct way, like just. It's great. It's just, I think it was just well written and it's funny. And then like we keep going with it, like we don't just drop it like at the end of the episode. Scorpio's like, "So you didn't answer my question." It's so good.
All right, Michelle, did you have any feelings about this?
I flipped out because I honestly didn't see it coming, and I watched it like. Oh, well, shouldn't say it. But I watched it at work when it came out on Friday, so I didn't have time to be spoiled, so it was a surprise for me. And I freaked out, and I started, like, fangirl screaming in my cubicle, because, like, I was, like, seeing it happen. I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. Because I don't know, I guess I just assumed, like, Scorpia really likes Quattro and she gushes about her, but she wasn't like really gonna do anything actively about that. But now she is, and it's like the best thing ever. And like she's so awkward, but she's so genuine about it, and Quattro just does not understand what's really happening at all. And it's so cute. And she has these claw warmers on her arms because it's like winter.
My girlfriend flipped out. She was like, Do you see her mittens? Do you see this?
So cute. And Scorpia's like blushing hardcore and like making all these goofy faces, and it's just so cute. It was really good.
If they played a board game, what board game would they play?
Monopoly.
You think so?
Except it'd be like Horde Monopoly. I don't know what it'd be called.
I kind of wonder if it'd be Battleship, because, that's like a war game. I feel like Quattro would like... That would be an easier one to
Quattro would take it way too seriously.
Yeah. Scorpio would be like, this isn't very romantic. You're bloodthirsty.
That is also possible. Sam,
Scrabble or something. It'd be funny to see Scorpio try to pick up...
every game they have is Risk. It's just different versions of Risk.
They could play like Sorry or like Candyland. I don't know.
What are board games? Yeah,
they should play. I like the bowling. She was like, "Our bowling. Yeah! I'm really good at bowling, except my claw." I was like, "I'm done."
Yeah,
so funny.
So funny.
I do want visual of her holding a bowling ball.
Yes. Also, they have bowling? Question mark.
Yeah. Do they have bowling in the fright zone? I guess. I guess they have to let off steam somehow, and maybe they have like a bowling league.
They have to have some sort of like evil bowling. I don't know how they're gonna make it evil.
And Hordak's like the best bowler since he's like the leader and whatever, and everybody just lets him win since they're so afraid of him. And he wears.
But he uses his little minion, like the little minion.
Yeah. Oh
the
no!
Child. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
The pins are defenseless creatures.
Yes,
they just get knocked out by a giant ball. But Sam, how do you grade Scorpia's efforts to ask Quattro out here?
I'm proud of her for putting herself out like that. I mean, it's hard. to be like, oh, do you want to like hang out sometime? And then Quattro's just like, we're hanging out right now, and Quattro just doesn't get it, but Scorpio still is going for it, and like I applaud that. I give her a good 9 out of 10 for her efforts.
Oh, all right.
It's like
That's
you
a good
like
score,
it's like
yeah.
you're gay, right? And you're like trying to ask a girl out, and you're like, you know they're gay, but it's like you have to cross that barrier of like we're both gay,
Yeah.
but like I have to make it clear that I'm gay for you. It's tough.
What's gayer than board games, really?
Nothing is gayer than board games.
My favorite board game is the game of life. That's my
quality.
favorite board game. And you can be gay in that board game. And
You
that's
can,
what makes
it's
it
great.
good.
Yeah, you can. That's true.
So good.
Anyway.
All I can really contribute to this is that like I enjoyed the animation of her being very like nervous and like fumbling with her claws. Like you can see like she can't stay in one place while she's like talking it out. Like she has to like put it behind her head and which is very accurate to like it's being awkward while talking to someone. It's like I don't know what to do with my hands, or in this case, what to do with my claws. And
Quality.
and like as she's talking, like you see the blush come up. It's like the further in she gets to it. So like, I just think, and she's kind of like on the side of the frame. So like it all feels very well placed. All of like Scorpia's actions while she's like saying all this stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, she like at the end she like trips up and then causes the murder virus to knock out. And that distracts Quattro and all. In the middle, at some point, she like lets out the line like, "This isn't how today was supposed to go," which I think implies that she had been planning this at least all day, if not for like several days. So so poor Scorpio in that regard. And then
she just wanted a date. That's all. Yeah. That's all she wanted.
Yeah, and she was like working like, okay, let's find the right opportunity. Okay, here it is. Okay, now's the time to execute my plan to ask Quattro out. And so skipping to the next the main Scorpio scene is her having to babysit Adora. And like we begin to get her letting out her thoughts of like feeling almost like envious of the connection that Quattro has with Adora, because like I'm stuck babysitting her ex best friend. Adora puts in Quattro's favorite number and Scorpio takes that as showing off. And eventually, when Seahawk shows up, he's like, Scorpio is like, I know that Quattro has a special bond with you, and I feel like I can't compete with that. So it's interesting that like we built up a lot of Quattrodora in season 1, and so now we have Scorpio coming to terms with the fact that Quattrodora was there was a very strong bond there, and she needs to try breaking into it. Do we think Scorpio's on the right path here?
Yeah.
I mean, since I don't want Quattrodora to be endgame, I mean, I'm just I don't really care what's endgame as long as it's gay. But my favorite part about this is that Scorpio has no malice for Adora. Like none. Like
yeah, that's true.
And it's like, Scorpio is literally so pure. Like, I don't understand how she's surviving in the Horde, like, at all. But, like, she is literally the purest, and I love her so much. And that's honestly, I think, one of the most, like, that's one of the most compelling things about this, is that Scorpio doesn't hate Adora. She makes comments about how close Adora and Quattro are, but she's not, Adora is very vulnerable right now. Like, she's literally floppy. Like, she is drunk. Can't do anything. And, I mean, Scorpio's just holding her just like a teddy bear. And it's very cute and it's very sweet. And, they just talk. And, of course, she talks to Seahawk. And Seahawk, like, all of this is very in character for Seahawk. And I think it's just nice. And I don't think it's, like, comical in other shows you'd have, and we do get that, the whole Kim Possible, like, oh, Kim and Shigo are fighting, but they're having a conversation while they're doing it. But this is very, like, they're not just making a joke out of it just because, one's the villain and one's not. Like, I don't know, it was just very genuine. And I think Scorpio, get your girl. Like, do whatever you want. Live your life. And it's
Yeah,
just super
Dora
cute.
gave her like her blessing, right? Because she
Right?
has that moment where she's like, well, you know what? Like, I know you guys have that bond, but one day Catra's gonna notice that like I'm there for her and I'll like be there like as long as it takes, because that's who I am. And Adora like cheers. She's like, yeah!
Adora's
It's like
literally
even Adora wants them to be together.
Adora is literally like every drunk girl in a bathroom at a bar.
Yeah.
She is.
Like
Yeah.
captured that energy of just like, yes, just there is no being is more supportive than a drunk girl in the bathroom.
I don't know, that sort of thing when Scorpio was like, oh, I'm gonna be there no matter what, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Maybe it's because I think personally, if someone just straight out doesn't express romantic interest in you, maybe just give up on that.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I don't.
Like as a friend, yeah, sure, like you want to support your friend, and like
Yeah.
Scorpio and Quattro are friends, I totally get that. But if you're just gonna be like waiting in the wings for her to like notice you in a romantic sense, and she never does, even if you're super forward, maybe just stop. You know?
Mm-hmm. And
I don't think. I mean, obviously, like it would. We'd probably feel differently if one of these characters was a guy, and depending on how they approached it, because you can definitely have that character who's like overwhelmingly overbearing and like inappropriate. I do think here is a different setup, just because Scorpia asked, but Quattro didn't like get it.
Yeah.
And so that's the different thing. It's not like I don't like right now. I don't think Scorpio is acting inappropriately or against Quattro's wishes or anything. Definitely, though, I agree that like that is a sentiment that should be expressed and is we got to be careful about that. Granted, I do have faith in that the writers of the show, and then also Scorpio. Scorpio legitimately, genuinely cares about Quattro a lot, and I do think she said multiple times like even though she loves Quattro. And I can't remember the name of the episode. It's the one where they have to fight. It's the Tower episode, where she leaves her in charge of
right.
Yeah, and she's like, "I gotta make Quattro proud." Like, I think it's just like this genuine respect she has for Quattro, and obviously wanting to please her. But I don't necessarily think that. Like, I don't think she would do anything that would hurt Quattro or to do anything that would like something Quattro didn't want.
Yeah.
Other than obviously destroying the disc.
Actively pulling away, she probably wouldn't lay it on so thick. And she mostly gushes about Quattro when Quattro's not actually there, too.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, she calls her beautiful to her face a couple of times, but like other than that, there's just not.
And Quattro, it's not that Quattro tells her to shut up or anything.
Right. Quattro's just like, whatever. Stuff's going on right now.
Uh-huh. And if we skip ahead a little to that point where Scorpia steps in to break the disc and then run off with Quattro, and we get to that moment where Quattro her eyes like go to a bit like, whoa, what happened? Like, why Scorpia's like protecting me, sort of thing. So like it kind of hints to the fact that Quattro is maybe like noticing something different with Scorpio for the first time, or is that the impression that you guys got with like that like holding on her on Quattro's face when that happens?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I kept trying to figure out what I thought made the most sense. And at first, I thought it was that like, oh, like. Scorpia always does what Quattro says all the time, no questions. This is the first time she like disobeyed her. And it's like, oh, maybe it's because like she's being really confident now, and that's like, really hot, and so Quattro noticed. But I feel like at least some of us have seen, someone on Twitter pointed out that I don't want it so their username is @Parchment, so full credit to @Parchment to bring this up. But she basically says like, can we talk about how the fact that like pretty much everyone that's been important to Quattro in her life has like abandoned her up to this point. Like Shadow Weaver has, Hordak has, Adora has, who's arguably like the most important person to her. And the only person who seems like really in it for the long haul to be invested in her is Scorpia. And that's like, I think that's the best argument for what that moment symbolized, because that's not the first time Scorpia has dragged her away from a battle, but it's the first time that Quattro's actually looked at her when she's done it. And I think she's realizing that Scorpia's putting Quattro's own well-being over everything else, and no one's actually ever done that for her before. And that's what she's like, whoa, about. So, because when she thanks her after, when they're on the boat, she says, like, thanks for getting us out of there. So I think part of her does realize that Scorpio was like, she had her best interests at heart, which is like a pretty new thing for Quattro. So that's what she was responding to. And that's just so sweet. Like, oh my god, Scorpio, you're such a good friend. Quattro's lucky to have you.
On top of that, I think it's also that, you know, Quattro didn't get what Scorpio was saying. One, because Quattro's dumb, and I love her. Two, I think it's, you know, Quattro's very much blinded by her hate. Like, she's so mad about Adora, and she's trying to prove herself in the Horde, and she's under a lot of stress. And I think, honestly, this tunnel vision, to me, that's kind of what it represented to me. Like, not, I mean, I totally agree with everything you said, was also, but to me, when I was watching it, it was more of, you know, kind of pulling her out of that a little bit. Because, you know, she wasn't thinking clearly. She was like, I have control I have control of She-Ra. Like, why would I let this go? Because you're gonna get eaten by this giant snow, whatever, caterpillar thing. And so I think that was part of it too, was that, you know, Scorpio's kind of there to, like, she was the voice of reason, and she, you know, made that hard choice and grabbed her and was like, let's get out of here. Because you can't trust Entrapta to make any sort of decision like that. But, so to me, that's what it was, is kind of the, like, kind of snapping out of, like, oh, like, so maybe she was kind of realizing maybe a little bit of what Scorpio was getting at. Not sure. Quattro is also Quattro, and you never know what she's actually thinking, so.
It's true. I mean, I totally, like, get what you're saying, though, because, like, I don't think Quattro up to this point has had a really high opinion of herself. Like, she wants to prove herself to other people so she can have that kind of feel like she is worthy of something, but she doesn't necessarily, you know, try to avoid hazardous situations or put herself in danger because, like, deep down, maybe she doesn't feel like she's worth that. And seeing somebody put her safety first, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, like, you think I'm worth something right now, even when I feel like crap all the time? That's a new thing. So
also, this entire season is Scorpio carrying Quattro like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like, there's when she wraps her up in the blanket.
Oh, yeah.
She's just like, oh, we gotta get out of here. And so she will gently cradle Quattro in her arms while they run away.
Do you carry your cat like a baby?
Sometimes.
Figgy isn't really about that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of my cats, I never liked them when I carried them like that. They would always just go up on my shoulder and, like, walk around on my shoulders while I walked around the house.
Like a pirate.
Yeah, like a pirate. Like I was Seahawk, except
cat.
Seahawk doesn't have,
Sam Hawk.
Give Seahawk a cat.
He should have
He would be a good cat parent, I'm pretty sure.
He would. I think he would bring a lot to his life and his enjoyment.
Plus, it'll, like, get rid of the vermin on his ship. It's a win-win.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Do cats chase away termites?
Maybe.
Maybe for fun.
You could get a rat on a boat.
Yeah, it would help with rats at least.
It will be a companion for when Mermissa doesn't want to hang out with him.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need you. I got my cat.
I have my cat.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawk
my cat hang out.
He would totally name his cat Seahawk Jr.
Yeah, I think it'll be a beneficial relationship if Seahawk got a cat.
All right, guys, we're gonna petition.
Yes.
Seahawk
at Noel Stevenson.
Give Seahawk a cat.
Give Seahawk a cat, please. Even though I'm pretty sure it's all already done. But, you know, you can add it in post.
Eventually.
You just Photoshop in a cat with, like, Seahawk doing a shanty. One final Scorpio thing. We've touched on it a little bit, but, like, the conversation that she has with Seahawk is first Seahawk just letting out his frustrations of, like, well, Mermista doesn't want to hang out with me and only approaches me, and people only approach me when they need things. And then Scorpio goes back, is like, yeah, I feel the same way with Quattro. Like, she only really approaches me when she needs me for something. They have a laugh, and then they just, like Scorpio lets out the line, mind, like, is there something wrong with us?
No,
But
there's nothing wrong with them.
yeah, and then it becomes uplifting, you know, with like first Adora steps in, it's like, you guys are great, and then and then they both are
So
like, yeah,
dumb.
we have good qualities. Scorpio's like, yeah, I give great hugs, I'm loyal, and the line of like, you may have left Quattro, but someday she's gonna see that I won't. But I just wanted to point out that little piece because like that is a thing that sometimes everyone feels. It's just like, well, I don't really have friends. So like, is there something wrong with me necessarily? And like sometimes it takes a little bit of extra work to like realize your good qualities, and so
It's not you. Other people suck.
Yeah,
sure.
It's more likely that you just put yourself around people who don't make you feel as good as you should feel, you know?
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, what does that say about the Mermista Seahawk relationship?
Honestly,
Oh!
they did not interact face to face this
Yeah.
entire season. Did they? So who cares about? I like Seahawk. He can just get a cat. It's fine.
Seahawk, you don't need Mermista.
You honestly don't. I mean, I don't know how much she's crazy about Seahawk anyway, to be fair.
I don't know how crazy she is about anything.
Yeah, except for the sea.
Yeah,
And
except
maybe
for
dolphins.
Sea-Ra.
Yeah, but being Sea-Ra is her
Yeah,
main
that's
goal
what
in
she
life.
is.
Okay, I need to say that was like the best part of this season.
Seahawk?
Zero. I was
you-
like dead when this
Beatrice
happened. I
was
was
so
like,
happy
oh
with that.
my god.
You and Beatrice can commiserate
Yeah.
about that moment.
That was the best. I was like, no, when she said it, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard, which was way better than the episode before, which was nonstop cat puns. Well, it was the same episode, and I was like, please stop. I can't do the cat puns anymore.
Neither can Adora or Glimmer, so...
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I watched Ladybug. I can't, I don't need more of this.
Seahawk is not Hawkmoth. So.
Yes, hashtag the real Seahawk.
Any other Scorpia Quattro thoughts floating around this episode? I think we've covered the big beats. But any remaining observations here?
Quattro's still very obsessed with Adora. It's so obvious.
It's bad.
Yeah, I guess we can touch on that because She-Ra does face up to Quattro. Quattro lets out. I think this is only the second Hey Adora of the season.
Adora.
Yeah.
Also, the episode before, they were like, so when Adora freaks out, she's like, so this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna go wrong. She's gonna separate me,
right,
and this is exactly what happened this episode. And it was like dumb. Why did you let this happen? Y'all literally just talked about this.
Yeah, and so she gets infected and all, and but Scorpio dives to protect Quattro and restrains Adora. So another underrated moment there. Later, Quattro giggles at the idea of using Adora to annihilate the other princesses, and Scorpio kind of plays along,
She's dying inside though.
Yeah.
Scorpio, you want to be good? Just go over to the good side.
I don't even think it's want to be good. Scorpio just is good. She's just there.
You don't have to obey your family's wishes. You can go with them and be friends with Adora and Glimmer, and then Quattro will come.
Yeah.
But Quattro needs to get over her desire to control Adora. At the end, the reason she's not destroying the disc is hey, I finally have something to control her. I'm not going to give that up, sort of thing. Which I think is something to point out because in previous episodes we've talked about Quattro's association with Shadow Weaver throughout this season, and that will be touched on further in the next episode. But another thing here that stands out is the desire to control the people you're closest to, and in this case, Quattro wanting to control Adora is kind of coming out here.
So
that doesn't feel good.
Again.
No, it's not good.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not Adora. Quattro needs a therapist.
Yeah.
Real bad.
She has a lot of trauma from Shadow Weaver.
Mostly
and
Shadow
stuff.
Weaver, yeah.
Mostly Shadow
And then that's turning into control issues in her relationships, literally, and it's not good. She needs to sort that out.
Yeah, for
Strong
sure.
agree.
But probably many characters need therapists. Seahawk probably needs a therapist.
The cat will be his therapy cat. That's all he needs.
He
He
He's
needs an
fine.
emotional support animal.
Yeah, prescription from the doctor. That's all he needs.
Is that all I need? Instead of going to the therapist, I just get a cat? Is that'll be enough?
If it's the perfect cat, if it's seaworthy.
Look, I go to therapy and I have a cat. It's the best.
If cats are not an emotional support animal, what would it be?
A rat, a possum. How about
A
a possum?
Ooh, it should be a possum. Do they have possums there?
They have bowling. They better have possums.
Yes, because those two are obviously correlated.
Yeah, it should be like a possum, or like, what else do cats like? I don't know, like a fish.
Sure.
Y'all are saying things that cats like, but they're things cats like to eat.
Okay, that's true. Oh, they like rubber bands and metal strings.
An emotional support rubber band. Okay.
There you go.
That'll work. So, moving away from the Scorpion Quattro, the other character that was mentioned in our initial thoughts, I think by a couple of people, was Entrapta, and she is kind of propelling the actual plot of this episode.
You know what? That
you mean
bothered
of the season?
Oh, okay, Sam, you are bothered by this. Why?
I was bothered by the end because she was like, "Oh, I had this the whole time. And we were having so much fun." When did you get to this? Did you get it before the start of the episode? Did you get it during the episode at some point? There was no reason why we had to have all these big giant worms. That's not fun. That's dangerous. And you and Trapta should have noticed that. And just because you want to spend time with your friends doesn't mean that you want to put them in danger.
Also, it's not like she was hanging out with them. Well, I guess it's one of those things, like, Entrapta's just like, yeah, we're hanging out. She's like, I'm not talking to you, but it's cool. We're hanging out.
Like, that's fine!
Which is fine. Which is fine, but not in a freezing cold, like, death fort.
Yes. Everybody could have died from various things at various points in this episode, and I'm holding Entrapta accountable because it's all her fault.
Wow.
I was also trying to figure out, like, if it was before the episode or, like, in the middle of the episode.
I think it was the middle.
Yeah, honestly, up until now, I had thought that it was in the middle, but Sam raises a point that we don't actually know.
Like, why would she have had the time
like,
to just throw it on there?
At the beginning, like, Kat just asking her, like, why are we here again? She's like, Hordak said there'd be first one's tag. We're gonna look for it. Which, like, to me implies she hasn't found it yet. But maybe she was
looking for more.
More? Yeah.
Maybe she found it when they were all fighting, like she just wandered down there.
That's true. She wasn't really that involved in the fighting. So, she could have found it.
Yeah.
Entrapta's treasure.
I honestly, I feel you, Sam, though. Like, obviously, like, Entrapta should have said something. But, like, this is why she's, like, Scorpia's, like, so much more pure than her, because, like, if anyone was gonna be legit evil, I, like, wouldn't be that surprised if it ended up being Entrapta. Because this is just the kind of stuff she does.
But
well, she doesn't care. Everything's for science.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, science without a conscience.
Allegiance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a line in the middle where, like, for some reason, Bo is chasing after Entrapta, or I guess Bo is, like, running away from something while also after Entrapta.
Yeah, no, he's chasing. Bo's chasing Entrapta, and Entrapta's legit just running away from him. Right,
and then it's just like, hey, like, do you know what you're messing with? It's like, no, but that's the fun. It's like... Yeah. Sure. And then later, I think, because we've talked in previous episodes about, like, is Entrapta aware of the harm she's doing? And I think Bo, like, literally does say something like, hey, like, is your science worth the damage you're doing? And Entrapta just, like, straight up ignores that. Like, he's just like, oh, wait, these are bots. Like, I gotta go fix that. So, like, she, like, doesn't give Bo's statement the time of day, but, like, but the fact that she's being told it to her face, I think kind of settles that once and for all.
You know, she doesn't care. It's all about science.
Morals, man.
No morals for scientists.
I want to point out, too, just like a random aside that's sort of a little bit off topic, but it's just been in my mind. So I've been playing a lot of Borderlands recently, like the video game franchise, and I keep getting it confused with what's happening in She-Ra, because they both sort of had like a first one's like ancient civilization that was on the planet before.
You know, and this is literally like Assassin's Creed. I feel you.
And everybody's trying to get like the tech or whatever, and I just keep getting them confused. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, many alternate universes use ancient tech as their like thing to look for, and
yeah, well, I mean, basically, this one thing is just like this other thing, and like this other thing.
Well, now
that's all anything is.
Well, we're relegating first ones now. It's just to like weapons, so it's just kind of like a race to get it to like make better weapons.
Yeah, and I see the show like trying to make it a little bit more personable, like in that Signals episode where it's like, oh, like these holograms were just normal people, but also first ones, so like we should care about them. But like I don't think it's done enough yet for us to like care about first ones beyond like weapons and tech and
Right.
stuff. But they're trying in other episodes. But this one, it is basically all chasing the tech. It turns out these giant mecha worms are also tech at the end, and so once they break the disc, they just stop being hostile and they run away.
What's the point?
What is the point?
What is, like, if they only go hostile because of the disc, like, why are they there? Like, are they supposed to be like guardians? Or are they just like big worms that the first one built for like haha?
Well, I
don't
think
know.
they were. I mean, they were defending. I do think they were defending like the digging because they wiped out the bots.
Yeah.
they did.
So then I don't. But I think they didn't care. It's like in the library episode where you find out about Bo's past and like his
Yeah.
life is that, which is also like great, by the way.
Mhm.
They have the, like, when a door's like, oh, this is easy, it's a password, and then it starts attacking them because it literally just wanted that disc or the shard. So I think as long as it like the building they're in isn't close enough to whatever they're guarding.
Also,
Okay.
can you call something a disc if it isn't round?
It was round. Oh no!
It was like
the
a
middle was round, the outsides were pointy.
Yeah, it was more like a
It was a fidget spinner.
Yeah, it was a fish.
yeah, it basically wasn't it?
Very
Just really
dangerous.
pointy.
At the end, the tech that Entrapta found, that was a giant disc.
That's
true.
true.
It's true.
It was bigger than her.
Those
Um,
poor worms are going to be upset. She snatched it.
Yeah, they're gonna come after.
The only Entrapta Hordak shipping moment is her being like, Hordak's gonna be so thrilled.
We're not doing
Yeah.
this shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, I know
Alex
Beatrice
is
is really into it.
representing.
I mean,
I'm
I
here for it. I'm here for it too, man.
I just want to represent it for the people out there
Yeah,
who wanted to follow that arc.
I think it's creepy and I don't like it.
Fine, that you are
It's totally not
you-
okay.
I'm entitled to my.
Yeah, you're
You
entitled to your opinion.
You are.
Yeah.
But he
Uh,
probably was impressed, though, Sam. Let's be real.
Oh, God. Stop talking to me about this.
Okay. Just covering some random bits and pieces that we haven't talked about yet. At the beginning is like the Adora, Bo, and Glimmer going to the ice place on the ship. Seahawk explains that this is the Dragon's Daughter 5, and explained that 4 was gone due to termites. So rip 4. And Adora literally says like, we needed a boat and you have a boat. And so that kind of calls forward to Seahawk's discussion that he only gets approached when they need things from him. But they should probably be nicer to him if they invite him to more adventures.
should.
He's so annoying though.
Yeah,
like he's like the first one to like get his license if this was a high school AU.
Yeah, this
So
is
he's
true.
like the first one to get his license and who has a car, so he just drives all his friends around. That's why people like to hang out with him. Which is like messed up. You shouldn't use people like that,
I
right?
agree. Oh,
Yeah.
also, my girlfriend brought up a good point. Why did they not bring Frosta to the literal
Yeah.
north?
Oh,
Why?
maybe
She would've been
Glimmer
so
still
useful.
didn't want to be close to her at that
Like,
point.
you know how useful Frosta would have been? Like, this was stupid. Like,
Yeah, that is a good
You're
point.
dumb.
You're going
they
to
were
a
like,
nice
let's
place.
get Seahawk. Okay, cool. He has a boat. What about the literal Princess of Ice? Like,
You
it
could have
makes
just made an ice bridge
no sense.
for you to walk across the ocean.
We needed
And
Frostbane, okay, guys?
Maybe Adora was like afraid of, because she's the youngest, right? Of all the princesses, maybe she's like, well, Candra's gonna be there. Maybe she's like, she would end up dead for real. But I mean, those are literally her powers, so I don't know how strong that argument even holds up, really.
Dumb.
Yeah, but they decide to go it out on their own. So eventually they do have the whole fight scene outside once they all meet up, and Quattro gets separated. Glimmer does her teleporting biz. I just want to say, like, the fight scenes here feel. I don't know if it's because of the fact, like, it's taking place in, like, snow and there's just, like, giant mecha worms going on, but, like, I felt kind of lost during the fight scenes part of these episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt the same way or if I'm just wrong
A
here.
little bit, but honestly, I'm not too high on fight scenes to begin with. So
I mean, they were
thought
mainly
was
running
fine.
away this episode.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that adds to, like, the chaoticness of it.
And I did like watching like bad Adora fighting. That was pretty like when she starts laughing and I'm like,
Oh
hey, Vic.
yes,
I
it
was like,
very
get her.
appealing. Like you can tell how much she holds back with Quattro every time. If that's what she's like, unencumbered by like feelings, you know, like she was ready to bash her in with that sword.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome. Like I like Quattro, but like that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and also she says, like, I think she's like, this is cool, like just watching Adora go berserk and like swinging a glimmer.
That must have been scary.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
for
I think
sure.
they do a good job of like when possessed She-Ra like points the sword at Quattro. Like you can see Quattro like kind of afraid at her face. Like she's like, oh wait, she's not gonna hold back this
No,
time.
at first she was like, this is really cool. And then she was like, oh no.
Yeah.
She's coming after me now.
Yeah, so all that happens. That crew falls off a cliff and they have to climb up. Seahawk initially complains that Glimmer did not count her teleports. Which
She
is
should.
not cool.
I totally agree.
Oh
with
wow,
that.
you're on the Seahawk side.
This is like a theme for the season though. Like they're like,
Yeah.
we like literally the episode before Adora's like, maybe we should consider like limiting teleports. And it's like, I love Glimmer, but like this happens
Every episode. Like I would like if you make a She-Ra drinking game, that would be, you know, take a sip every time Glimmer runs out of teleports and like collapses from exhaustion. It happens every single episode. She really should keep count, shouldn't she? Just to keep this from happening. Be like,
or
okay,
like
guys.
we need like a battery or something, like
Yes.
like a little mini
So she can tell,
runestone.
yeah, how low she is.
Yeah, so I agree with Seahawk on that point. That's probably the only thing Seahawk and I will ever agree on.
Wow.
How do you feel about his song?
Yeah, his shanty here.
It was
is-
great.
I
I
thought
did
it was
enjoy it.
I actually
Also,
liked
I like his mustache, so that's another thing.
All right. And yeah, I enjoyed his shanty too, just because it was very sad. And it's like, I'm very cool. Or like it's that sad music
Does
plays
it.
over it. So, and he's singing this while he's just getting pulled up the mountain. He's not even. He's kind of given up on life in that moment. Let's hear anything else. We've touched on most of the. Oh well, I guess drunk Adora. Some key moments include
I
her
love-
going
Yes.
boop boop on the buttons a lot.
so
Yeah.
I love her. Yeah, girls' night.
Yeah, girls'
Yeah.
night in.
Girls'
Flop.
night in.
I believe she hits Scorpio with a mop. Did that happen somewhere?
Oh,
in
her
there?
and her mop are just gorgeous.
Dream team, her and the mop.
Yeah. Once they run back in to find the rest of the crew, Adora finds Glimmer's like, I know you. So yeah,
They hug and it's cute. I don't know. I thought it was a cute rated G drunk.
Yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
a Delaney saying, like, you know, Scorpio doesn't really have a lot of animosity towards Adora. And Adora is just she's just laying on the compliments left and right with Scorpio, too. She says so many nice things to her while she's drunk. It's really charming. Even though they're on opposite sides of this. It's just so cute.
Well, it's also because like Adora is like cute and stupid normally
Yeah.
anyway, and so this is just like extra cute and stupid Adora. It's great.
I keep seeing on Tumblr people describing her as like a jock lesbian.
Adora?
Yeah.
Do you agree with this?
I agree with it, but like it's like a jock lesbian puppy.
Mm.
Yeah. She's like a freshman on the
Yeah, not a
Yeah.
mature.
on the JV softball team, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this is more accurate.
I'd sports. I never played sports in school.
I mean,
Badminton.
when
Does she
she
play
goes
badminton?
into She-Ra mode, she does get pretty strong. Like she's muscly.
Her legs get a lot thicker, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
then she
true.
becomes like a varsity softball player at that point.
Any other thoughts that come out from this episode that you guys want to talk about before we begin signing off here?
Do you think that Scorpio does give good hugs despite her pointiness?
Yes, I think she probably gives like the best hugs.
Because she doesn't hug with her claw point, she hugs with like the sides of her arms. So
also, she could probably like squeeze you really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think like if you live your life with like pointy shoulders, I think you eventually learn how to do a hug without rubbing your shoulders into the person. You know, like you kind of have to learn your body.
And you know, Scorpio's totally going to be the kind of person who hugs you and like picks you up.
Aw, I like that. That's cute.
Yeah,
you know, Scorpio Def gives the best hugs. Like, no doubt.
All right.
Wow. We need to make that a top 10 list. Who gives the best hugs?
I think it's Scorpio, and then
Glimmer.
and then
I think
Bo.
gives really good
Oh,
hugs.
no, I think Bo might be good.
And then
second.
I think Adora probably gives like really aggressive hugs, but like I'm still about it.
No, I think Adora probably just like pats people on the back the entire time. Just to be like,
She-Ra could give aggressive hugs. What about that?
Probably.
I do think, to echo Alex, I do think Glimmer does probably give really good hugs because she's small and like she'll probably like hug you at your midsection. It's cute.
Yeah.
Aw, waist hugs, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
They'll be like soft hugs, you know.
Yep.
Delaney, any final thoughts on the episode?
It was really gay, and I hope Scorpio gets her date.
Yeah.
Yeah, root for Scorpio. I think that's a consensus opinion here. Michelle, final thoughts?
This was the episode that gave me hope that Scorpio could have a happy ending one day with Quattro, and I'd be like really excited to see that happen because she is really supportive, and she's finally like standing up for herself too, and she's becoming a lot more confident in who she is, and that's important too. Like, not just Quattro needs to work on herself. I feel like Scorpio does, and Hawkmoth really. Oh my God!
Wow!
This is the curse. I don't know who Hawkmoth is even, Delaney. Seahawk really helped her out with his pep talk. And she made the right call.
And he even does like the little fist pump.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, she went for her heart. Good for her. Like, he still supports her, even if she's the enemy. So I'm just very happy. I'll remember this one for a long time.
All right. And Sam, final thoughts that don't have to do with hugging? Or was the hugging the final thoughts?
That's what's most important.
Yeah, that was my final thought. Yay.
Okay.
Shira. Woo!
Yeah. We'll be continuing to break down. We've got 2 more episodes to go. We've got Slight Spinner and Reunion coming up very soon. And if you want to keep up with our coverage of She-Ra, you can do that at overlyanimated.com. If you want to talk with us about this episode, about She-Ra, or any other show we cover here, you can do that on Discord. You can chat with us there at overlyanimated.com/Discord. If you can support us financially via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Lily, aka Panda Lily. Thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. Besides She-Ra, we've also got Miraculous Ladybug coverage about to come up. We've got Fruits Basket being covered. We cover Star vs. the Forces of Evil, if you want a magical girl show. We try to cover a lot of different. Tuca and Birdie is coming up very soon, so also adult animation. We try to cover a lot of different animated shows here at Overly Animated. So perhaps after this episode by episode coverage is over, we'll see if we find other She-Ra topics to talk about in between this and season 3, whenever it decides to come out. But we still have 2 more episodes to talk about before we begin thinking about the off season. So we hope you continue to keep up with our coverage here. And until we come back for episode 6, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.